IIT IEEE में हुआ नहीं था उस समय because of some mess ups in my mark. Yeah, so you are getting a good job like 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs package at Amazon and like 12 lakhs somewhere, and it was more like lakhs में आपको package मिला, then you are actually respected. But the moment you tell that you are actually aiming to become a freelancer, you want to do your own thing, the people are like, okay, शायद लगता है हाँ लगता है placement हुआ नहीं है. So you're actually treated as a nobody actually. Talk about that they have worked in Google, they have worked in Amazon, they have worked in Fang or Mang companies. It's more like that this thing actually is there till the age of 25 or 26. Like, see, you become a level 2 or level 3 engineer. No one actually have talked and have actually listened that, okay, I am working in Google and people are saying, oh, you work at Google. It's not like that. Heard about like $20,000 per hour. $1,000 तो I actually we paid one actually freelancer.
तो चलो सागर स्टार्ट करते हैं तुम्हारे बेसिक बैकग्राउंड से कि तुम्हारा बैकग्राउंड क्या है, तुमने एजुकेशन कहाँ से करी, स्कूलिंग कहाँ से थी, कॉलेज कहाँ से था, और तुम कैसे इस सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग फील्ड में आए, तो उससे स्टार्ट करते हैं.
चलो ठीक है. So hi everyone. So myself Sagar and so I'm from Gorakhpur mainly, and currently I'm living in Hyderabad for more than 6 years. So basic में जितनी भी schooling थी class 12 तक I did in Gorakhpur, and after that I went to college. So college IIT IEEE में हुआ नहीं था उस समय because of some mess ups in my marks. So I went to college. I was doing computers and I had a minor in communication. So electronics और computer का mixture था, and from there I actually completed my BTech, and after that I got a consultant job, and I came to Hyderabad. So in Hyderabad actually I spent a lot of amount of time, and different companies में काम किया मैंने. बीच मैंने freelancing की, and mainly my main projects were freelancing projects only. And currently I think last 1 year I pivoted my freelancing thing and I shifted to a full-time role. It's a wealth fintech startup currently based in Mumbai, and there I'm actually working as a tech lead. Yeah, so it has been a very small transition. Gorakhpur se Jaipur I did my engineering. When I was in Hyderabad, I did a 2 years course through this distance learning. I completed my master's. That was with Liverpool John Moores University. Upgrad का एक program है. उसके तो COVID time I did my 2 years there as a stint, learning from home. So
okay.
yeah.
Okay. तो अब बात करते हैं कि कोडिंग की जर्नी कैसे स्टार्ट हुई, और फिर उसके बाद बात करते हैं कि कैसे कैसे तुम धीरे धीरे फ्रीलांसिंग के अंदर शिफ्ट हुए, एंड व्हाई नॉट यू टुक द ट्रेडिशनल पाथ जो होता है कि कॉलेज से प्लेसमेंट्स लेना एंड देन उसके बाद फिर प्रॉपर बड़ी कंपनीज में या फिर स्टार्टअप्स के अंदर काम करना. तो फ्रीलांसिंग की, और सबसे पहले बताओ कोडिंग की जर्नी कैसे स्टार्ट.
So बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स होते हैं actually. So being from a small town Gorakhpur, I was in ICSE board till class 10. So we had this subject called computers, and that time we were taught basic, and basic एक programming होती थी छोटी सी. So we were doing that basic programming, and then when we moved to 11th, that time we learned Java. उस समय इतनी खास पसंद नहीं थी क्योंकि it was like कि समझ में नहीं आता था सिस्टम है क्या, what is this program, करते क्या इस प्रोग्राम से. और उतना ऐसा क्योंकि since you're in a town where not जहाँ पे ज्यादा टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप नहीं हो रही है, तो यू डोंट हैव एक्सेस टू मोबाइल. हमें इंटरनेट के लिए भी कैफे के सामने खड़े होना पड़ता था प्रोजेक्ट्स करने के लिए. तो इतना ज्यादा मुझे कंप्यूटर से लगाव नहीं था. बट हाँ, ये बताया था कि एक कंट्री में परसेप्शन था कि कंप्यूटर करनी तो कंप्यूटर साइंस करो. मतलब अगर आपका IIT IEEE में भी नहीं हुआ तो आप जाओ किसी भी कॉलेज जहाँ कंप्यूटर साइंस मिल रही, क्योंकि नौकरी उसी से लगेगी. मैकेनिकल सिविल वाले भी सब कंप्यूटर साइंस करते थे. हालांकि वो परसेप्शन अब चेंज हो गया है. नाउ लाइक 3 to 5 years, I think since 2017-18, a lot of new streams have emerged and people are excelling in every stream. Means people are getting respect actually. So I did my basic computers. I had a knowledge about what programs are, how they are written, what is a loop, basic जो concepts होते हैं. लेकिन असली actually तब पता जब I went to college. So we had this programming community called Cybros. So फर्स्ट ईयर में एक्चुअली वी हैड दिस कंप्यूटर, बेसिक कंप्यूटर जो होता है जिसमें, अब उसमें क्या होता था कि दो तरह के स्टूडेंट्स आते थे. एक जिन्होंने क्लास 12th में कंप्यूटर्स ना लेके फिजिकल एजुकेशन लिया हुआ था, बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग थे, और कुछ लोगों ने कंप्यूटर्स लिया हुआ था. तो अब हम लोग को फर्स्ट ईयर पढ़ाया गया था सी प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज डेनिस रिची के टेक्स्ट बुक से। तो उस समय क्या था कि हम लोग को सब पता था क्योंकि हम लोग क्लास 12 में पढ़ चुके थे कि बेसिक तो वी वर क्वाइट एक्सेल इन दैट, सो वी हैड दिस वी वर पिक्ड अप बाय साइब्रोस पीपल, एंड साइब्रोस इज अ कंप्यूटर प्रोग्रामिंग। सो जिन्होंने भी शुरुआत में थोड़ी सी सीखी हुई है, जिनके कॉन्सेप्ट्स क्लियर है, वी वर पिक्ड बाय देम, एंड इनिशियली थोड़ी सी ट्रेनिंग कराई थी हम लोगों ने हमें, एंड दे मतलब इस कॉलेज में कोडिंग कंपटीशन काफी रहता था उस समय। गूगल कोडिंग होता था, कोड फोर्स, कोड शेफ, कोड फोर्सेस जैसे वेबसाइट्स हैं जहाँ पे कोडिंग चैलेंजेस होते थे। तो उस समय हम लोग उसी में बैठ के चैलेंजेस करते थे। तो फर्स्ट ईयर में आई थिंक वी वर वेरी बेसिक, सो वी डिडंट न्यू एनी एल्गोरिथम्स एक्चुअली। सो हम लोग जैसे बेसिक जो मैथ्स और स्टैटिस्टिक्स क्वेश्चन होते थे वो करते थे बैठ के। तो मान लो अगर कोड शेफ में हमने 10 से 2 या 3 क्वेश्चन कर लिए, तो यू आर वेरी गुड एक्चुअली इन फर्स्ट ईयर। So from there I actually started. I started doing 2-3 questions every हर competition में, and that was like first year. And then at the end of first year I started learning new algorithms. uh, abstract data types के बारे में पढ़ा, और डिफरेंट डिफरेंट एल्गोरिथम्स के बारे में पढ़ा, लीड कोड काफी किया। तो जैसे आपने और सीखा, फिर साइब्रोस की कम्युनिटी थी तो सीनियर्स के कांटेक्ट में आ गया और चीजें पढ़ी समझी। तो फर्स्ट ईयर तक आई वाज प्रीटी मच लाइक आई वाज से फ्रॉम एवरेज आई वेंट टू एन ओके प्रोग्रामर, कॉम्पिटिटिव प्रोग्रामर. So I was able to see the problem statement. I was able to think the logic behind it. I was able to code. हालांकि कई बार तो वो रन टाइम एरर हो जाता था, सेगमेंटेशन फॉल्ट हो जाता था, बट स्टिल आई वाज एबल टू डिवाइस अच्छा वो प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट है क्या, उसको कैसे एग्जीक्यूट करना है.
Okay.
So first year I gave Google code and we were able to qualify the first round, and then second round I was out. So it was okay. My first year I was very heavily invested in competitive coding. और कॉलेज में एक परसेप्शन भी था ना कि कॉम्पिटिटिव कोडिंग करोगे तो जो बड़ी कंपनी आती है, अमेजोन है हमारे, उस समय तो हमारी बड़ी कंपनी अमेजोन ही होती थी. तो अमेजोन आएगी, कॉम्पिटिटिव कोडिंग देखेगी और हायर कर लेगी. तो तुम 4 साल रगड़ के कॉम्पिटिटिव कोडिंग करो और तुम हायर हो जाओगे. अब उसके चक्कर में ये हुआ, आई वाज नॉट एबल टू बैलेंस माय स्टडीज. सो फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर आई वाज एबल टू स्कोर अ सीजीपीए ऑफ 7, बट उसके बाद मेरी सीजीपीए गिरने लगी बिकॉज आई वाज टू मच हेवीली इन्वेस्टेड इन कॉम्पिटिटिव कोडिंग कि मैं चैलेंजेस ही करता रहा. तो 2 साल ऐसे निकल गए हमारे. सेकेंड ईयर के एंड में एक्चुअली 2014-15 के स्टार्टिंग में एक्चुअली, सो वी हैड अ वेरी स्मॉल, वी हैड अ वन वर्कशॉप एक्चुअली. आई विल नॉट से इट इज अ वर्कशॉप, इट वाज मोर लाइक एक मीटिंग बुलाई गई थी जिसमें कुछ हमारे सीनियर्स थे, और उस समय थे भी जीसॉक में शायद 2 या 3 लोग निकाले थे ओवर द लाइक फोर्थ ईयर, थर्ड ईयर और सेकेंड ईयर में. फोर्थ ईयर, थर्ड ईयर, क्योंकि मैं तो सेकेंड ईयर में आ गया था. तो उसमें छोटी सी कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई थी जीसॉक के बारे में, गूगल समर ऑफ कोड, कि गूगल समर ऑफ कोड क्या है. तो
सागर,
उसी
सब कुछ बताने से पहले एक बार ये बता दो कि गूगल समर ऑफ कोड होता क्या है, एंड देन विल.
सो तो गूगल समर ऑफ कोड बेसिकली क्या है, इट्स अ प्रोग्राम विच इज स्पॉन्सर्ड बाय गूगल ओपन सोर्स कम्युनिटी. सो गूगल की अपनी एक एक पार्ट है ओपन सोर्स का. तो what Google does, it gives a substantial amount of money to that particular open source foundation which is under Google actually. And what that foundation does, it invites projects from different parts of the world. अब जैसे आपने बहुत का नाम सुना, जैसे लिब्रे ऑफिस सुना होगा, जो तो लिब्रे ऑफिस इट क्रिएट्स द लिब्रे ऑफिस वर्ड, पावर पॉइंट, जस्ट लाइक एन ओपन सोर्स ऑल्टरनेटिव ऑफ माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ऑफिस suite.
Yeah.
Then you have different desktop environments like KDE is there, then GNOME is there. Okay. And so there's a lot of then there are a lot of research, then there are a lot of programming languages also. Like Haskell hai, Java hai. So these all open source organizations. Now let me tell what open source is basically. So open source is a very very wide definition. So ओपन सोर्स का मतलब ये है कि आपने कोई पर्टिकुलर पीस ऑफ चीज बनाई, जैसे कि लिनक्स टोवार्ड्स ने एक लिनक्स एक ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम का बेस लिखा, एंड ही एक्चुअली गिव इट टू द पब्लिक. नाउ पब्लिक स्टार्टेड एक्चुअली एडिंग मोर एंड मोर रैपर्स, एंड लिनक्स टोवार्ड डिडंट चार्ज एनी रॉयल्टी फी ऑन इट. इट वाज मोर लाइक ठीक है, ये सबके लिए है, सब लोग यूज करो अपना. हाँ, तो मतलब बहुत बेसिक वेग डेफिनेशन. वी कैन एक्चुअली डिस्कस अबाउट दिस ओपन सोर्स डिटेल में आगे चल के. तो व्हाट डज इट, गूगल जो कमिटी थी, दे इनवाइट ऑल द ओपन सोर्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कि आप अपने प्रोजेक्ट्स लाइए, एंड वी विल स्पॉन्सर देम. सो बेसिकली मेरे केस में से केडी एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, तो उसके पास 12 या 13 प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं.
ओके.
एंड उसने वो सबमिट किया था, उसमें से एक प्रोजेक्ट था जिसमें डिजाइनिंग का गेम इंजन।
ओके।
तो अब उस डिजाइनिंग का गेम इंजन का एक अपना प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट होता है कि बेसिकली उन्होंने ये सब काम किया है, मतलब इन आर केस इट वाज लाइक कि earlier the code was written in Python and C, and now they were actually moving it to JavaScript and QML language. इसी तरह के बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट्स होते हैं, और इस प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट बेसिकली क्या होता है कि दे वांट द न्यू कंट्रीब्यूटर्स टू जॉइन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, क्योंकि ओपन सोर्स इज लाइक अ वॉलंटरी कंट्रीब्यूशन, मतलब इसमें आपको कोई पैसा नहीं मिल रहा है। इट्स मोर लाइक कि जैसे कि किसी ने लिनक्स ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम बनाया, तो जो भी उसमें काम करे दे नेवर वर्क फॉर द मनी, इट वाज मोर लाइक अ प्योर ब्लिस एंड जॉय, दे वांटेड टू डेवलप समथिंग, दे वांटेड टू एनहांस द एक्सपीरियंस। तो ये बेसिकली जीसॉक का बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट होता है कि they invite organizations and organizations come with the projects, and through that projects uh, you actually select student interns. So it is a program basically for college going students. And तो ऐसे एक प्रोग्राम का डिस्कशन चला था हमारे कॉलेज में कि अब उस समय ना मुझे पता ओपन सोर्स क्या होता है। So there was a buzz in college that Linux, everyone uses Linux. So all the cool kids, the cool techies, they use Linux. So then I was like, okay, ठीक है, conference हुई थी, KD conference. It was in Ahmedabad. That conference I went into that. It was in 2014 actually, end of the year. And in that conference, I actually interacted a lot of people. So and through that, I actually saw, okay, एक software की life cycle क्या होती है basically. It's not about it when you are writing a competitive coding, ना, you are actually seeing a problem statement, you're just writing a piece of code. But there's a bigger picture actually. सॉफ्टवेयर की पूरी एक लाइफ साइकिल डिफाइन होती है। तो जैसे कि आप डेस्कटॉप है, डेस्कटॉप उसमें आप इमेजेस आपके दिखते हैं, इसमें आपके पीडीएफ्स दिखते हैं, इसमें आपके आपके फोल्डर्स दिखते हैं, हाउ दैट फोल्डर वर्क, right? How that transition happens when you click on image, the image opens. When you click on PDF, the PDF viewer application opens in which that PDF content is shown. So this is like individual pieces of software in that particular desktop. How these components are made up. उसके बारे में मुझे थोड़ी थोड़ी नॉलेज होना शुरू हुई उस कॉन्फ्रेंस में। एंड इट वाज मोर लाइक कि I was like, okay, competitive coding, I was not getting a lot of traction. So things like कि उसमें बहुत सारे लोग आ गए थे कॉलेज में, मतलब everyone was doing competitive coding. And there was a lot of churn also कि मतलब people were actually leaving also competitive coding, then the new set of people were coming in. In this development thing, which was part of like GSoC thing, open source, you had a good amount of learning. You can learn a lot of new things. The very important thing when you talk about being a computer scientist or a computer engineer is like you don't have to cram everything. You need to understand कि ये चीज चलती कैसे है। मतलब someone says that कि मतलब particular if we talk about like कि telnet क्या होता है, so what the telnet is actually, हाँ, when you write a command cd in a terminal for changing that, what that cd does, so you should know, right, rather than just cramming it. Competitive coding has some amount of cramming inside, means you have a bigger picture that you apply logic, but it has got a little bit of cramming. I might get a lot of rebuttal for that, but yeah, there's some cramming with it. But with this, you actually have the control. So the entire software. So that time I asked for like I want to contribute in this project. So when you are in open source, you have like 3 stages. So first of all, you are given some tasks to test. So like check whether this, so there's a report which came that, okay, while clicking on a PDF document, the PDF viewer doesn't opens. So now you need to see whether it happens actually or not. The second thing is you need to crack the code and develop it, crack the bug and develop it. So once you are testing it, then you are cracking the bug and developing it. The big step in this open source is like you are designing. So एक होता है एक सबसे पहला प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट कि आप चेक करो कि पीडीएफ व्यूअर ओपन क्यों नहीं हो रहा है। सेकंड हो गया कि पीडीएफ व्यूअर अब ओपन नहीं हो रहा, उसका बग क्या है, व्हाट इज द इशू इन द कोड। नेक्स्ट टाइम यू गो इनटू द कोड। थर्ड टाइम इज लाइक यू डिजाइन अ न्यू सेट ऑफ पीडीएफ व्यूअर, न्यू सेट ऑफ पीडीएफ व्यूअर एप्लीकेशन। सो देयर आर 3 stages: testing, designing, testing, development, and designing. These are 3 stages in open source, and you go step by step. So anyone who wants to get started in open source, they can actually choose a project what they like. Now the preference can be their programming language, whatever the programming language they know, or it can be more like the project which they can attach themselves to. So like if you're a very data person, like you want to get involved into a lot of data, so there are a lot of projects which involve data. So I think there are a couple of organizations which do a lot of things in the data thing also. and they crunch a lot of data from outside sources. They actually visualize it through, I think, pandas and the graphing library. So you can actually involve in that. A lot of people want to actually work in security. So there is an organization which will, but in every open source project, you have to go through these three stages. You have to prove themselves, no? So during testing phase, you actually read the code, you understand the software. No one knows KDE unless until you actually install the KDE on your software. You actually play with the desktop environment. So you have to first play with the desktop environment. You have to read the code. Then once you understand, then you actually write the bug, crack the bug, fix the bug. Then you go. So it's more like these three stages. So this whole thing I learned actually in that conference. When I came back from that conference, my task was okay. I know a little bit of C. I know a good amount of C++, and I have been reading Python. So for me, this project, since I came from a KD conference, I was like, KD का organization से project उठा लेते हैं. So there was one project which came into my picture, that was Gcompre. So it's a educational game. And the thing was like they wanted to actually port the old code into a new set of libraries. So we were using Qt framework. They were actually porting it. So yeah, that was it. Like I wrote a proposal on that. It got rejected a couple of times because normally when you submit a proposal, you actually have to prove yourself that whether you're worthy for this project or not. So to prove your worth, you need to actually test the project and you have to fix some bugs. So in that proposal, only two things they need. You are actually fixing some bugs and you're actually knowing about the project. So I spent 2 to 3 months, good about January, February. I spent a lot in fixing the bugs. I was not able to fix like a lot of bugs, but they understood my approach. Okay, so it's more like competitive coding only. So in competitive coding, you get a problem statement, you solve it. In this, actually, you get a scenario. Like this particular button is not working. Now you go into that, you build that software into your system. You produce that particular scenario and then you fix it in the code. So I fixed it. Now when I gave the proposal, so a couple of times it got rejected because the mentors, they needed more and more actually depth into it. Because mentors can't go ahead and actually choose any project they want. They need to see, because they are going to take an intern for 3 months, and they want that at the end of 3 months, intern is able to actually know about the software, know about how the software lifecycle works in their organization. So after like 2 iterations, I was like, my proposal was accepted. It was accepted as in by mentor. I was able to put it on the GSoC portal. And then the results came in I think May. I was accepted, and along with me there was one more person, Siddesh Sudhar. He was also. So that time, actually, that next 3 months actually I spent on the Google Summer of Code, and so I learned. So I did it previously. I didn't know about Git also, so I knew what Git is, how to actually use it. Still, you learn a lot of new things when you're actually developing the project. How you write the code structure, how the code structure should be, how the commit messages should be there, how you're actually what is the purpose of a sprint, what is Scrum, what is retro, what is stand up. A lot of things about software means software. When you're actually writing a piece of code, it's not about just writing a piece of code and just rubbing your hands off and going away. It's more like you're a part and parcel of that particular system. You need to actually work with other people. You need to enable yourself and the team, and then the project. So a lot of things I learned. Team building activities we had. So means as a part of software development, you're not working as a lone warrior. That's the main thing. You are working as a team, as a group. At the end of 3 months, the project was good. I passed it, and during that phase, I actually came to know about hackathons. So, actually, I think next 2 years I was doing a lot of hackathons also. I went to different hackathons. I went into different conferences. So getting into GSoC opens door for you. Like you actually get a free pass to some of the conferences. So if you have done a good project into your language, you can actually apply to different conferences. And since you're a student, it's not a it's a good thing. Like if you are financially good, you should take care of your tickets. But if you're not financially good and you are actually giving a talk or something, the open source actually people, they fund your actually travel during your student days. So I went to QTCon in Berlin. It's a KD conference, and there I gave the talk. I went to FOSS Asia Singapore. I was selected for PyCon UK, but I was not able to go due to some visa issues. And I gave a couple of talks in one in my college and one in the Southern College, Southern India. And yeah, so that was all actually. So during my next 2 years after the GSoC, I was more like getting more and more developed, getting more and more focused on actually learning new languages, understanding. So when I talk about software lifecycle, it was more like databases. You need to understand about databases. You need to, so once you learn the framework, you need to about databases. What are the security? What are the networking tools you need to understand? How the things actually work under the hood. So slowly, I was going through the concepts. I was learning. I was implementing it. So post GSoC, there was one more program which was happening. It was Codementor. So Codementor is a website actually where you can actually register yourself and you can actually advise people. So suppose like Nishank, you are actually facing some issues with your database queries. You can actually post a query there, and I will. So you can pay me like $10 per 15 minutes, $15 per 15 minutes. I will come on the call. I will fix it with you.
Okay.
So 1 year actually, I completely did that.
Okay.
So yeah, at Codementor, and so from there, like it's a very short job. Like it's more like that. Very few times the client was requiring like 2 to 3 hours of effort. Like they're building something and they're facing some issue. So yeah, and once I did the Codementor thing, and then what I did was I started actually registering. So it was more like that. Okay, you are actually helping people. Now you can actually start working on the real set of problem statements. So I heard about freelancing actually through Codementor only. So there was one client of mine who was doing actually freelancing for someone, and he asked my help for that. So I asked like, from where you got that project? Then told that, okay, I got it through Upwork.
Okay.
And the college placements also started, but I had a very low CGPA, like 6.3. So I was not allowed to sit on a lot of college placements. And once you're not allowed to sit in like big companies like Amazon, it was like, okay. And I was earning pretty much decent enough in my this mentoring session. And so I was like, okay, I can actually do this freelancing thing. So what I did was I applied on Upwork, and luckily I got the first project.
Okay.
So we will talk about it, how the application process was. And I got the first project, and that first project was it was a real estate aggregator. So it was a project based out of in UK, United Kingdom. So there's a problem statement was like that you cannot actually, if you want to sell house or you want to buy house, you can't actually go onto the, at that time, I don't know about the current scenario, but at that time you cannot go directly and list it out in the Facebook group or something like, I want to sell a house, I want to buy a house for this much, can anyone let me know? So you have to go through agencies actually. Now the problem was with agencies was like agency A had like this property which is called ABC. They are listing at like 15 million pounds. Agency 2 has that same property, they are listing for 12 million pounds. So you don't have that information. So what we did was we actually created a bridge. Apart from that, we were extracting data from everything, from the entire UK rental market, and we actually added a lot of layer of like through Foursquare. We added like, if you're buying a house in this area, what is the crime rate based on the incidents? How many schools are nearby? How many restaurants are nearby? So we had livability score. If you're buying a house in that particular area, like so it depends, like you are a very social person. You want a lot of restaurants nearby, so you can actually buy there. Everyone looks for a place which is safer, then crime rate also is there. And you want to actually have a very nice silent background, then you can actually buy some distance. So we had all these filters actually. Same thing, we actually developed a tool for people who are wanting to sell the property. So we actually skipped 5 years of records, and it was not like a full-blown machine learning. It was very simple machine learning algorithm which we added, and we were able to predict the prices. Okay, you can actually list your property at this price based on your this thing, and the amount DOM, it is called days on market, days of market. So it will be sold within this days of market, like within 20 days, within 300, like a figure which we got. And that was my first project actually. So we were only 3 people, Patrick, Johan, and me.
Yeah.
So
and this project you got in while you were having your placements, right? Because
yes,
placement में तो आपको बैठने नहीं दिया था कंपनी से.
हाँ, तो उस समय जब होता है ना कि जब आपके पास पैसा आना शुरू हो जाता है, then you are like, ठीक है यार, I'm earning decent enough. And you are young that time at the college. So someone already told me that this age till 30, you can hustle a lot. Means you can, so if you have, what you say, if you have a clear goal, you can hustle a lot. You don't have to be sticking on one place actually. So that time I was able to take a risk. I was able to apply for projects and I got the project, luckily. So when during that stint, actually, I learned a lot of things actually. So never knew about what Elasticsearch is actually when we were building a search engine for the property. Uh, Databases we just learned about in college actually, and you know what you learn in college, but you never experimented. So that time we were experimenting it. AWS actually, a lot of AWS things because Johan is a AWS architect, so I learned through him a lot. So it was like 3 people were working in that project. We were building entire thing, and we all were interacting closely.
Okay.
So
And ये जो
that
आपका
project went,
and ये जो आपका प्रोजेक्ट था वो कितने टाइम तक चला था?
it went till actually COVID 2020. Then a bad COVID came up, and the project got shut down.
Okay.
And but I'm still in touch with the founders actually. So Patrick has his own company. It's a gaming company. Johan is also there. So I'm still in touch with them. So whenever I go to Europe, like on a holiday or something, like whenever they come, so we usually tend to meet. So I think before COVID, I used to go to Europe every year. So after COVID, I think I did went once, but I met only Patrick that time.
Okay.
So
yeah.
So
Sagar, how was your experience in this freelancing? Like जब placements नहीं लगी थी college में, तो या फिर जब आपको बैठने दिया था या फिर आपने अप्लाई भी नहीं करा था, then you started this in 2017, I think, right?
2016 actually. 2016. I was in my 4th year starting, so that time I started.
So you
see actually, freelancing was not seen as a cool thing actually in our college. Like that time, the cool thing was either you get a good job or you're running your own company. So if you're like starting a startup, then you are actually gaining the respect from the people. Okay, इस बंदे ने startup खोल लिया, अब तो ये फोड़ू है ये सब. Yeah, so you are getting a good job like 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs package at Amazon and like 12 lakhs somewhere, and it was more like lakhs में आपको package मिला, then you are actually respected. But the moment you tell that you are actually aiming to become a freelancer, you want to do your own thing, the people are like, okay, शायद लगता है placement हुआ नहीं है. So you're actually treated as a nobody actually.
Yeah.
So perception abhi bhi yahi hai. It has changed little bit actually. The change has done only because this COVID thing came, and people along with the normal jobs, they started picking up some other set of jobs along with it. So or a lot of people got the job, they lost their jobs, and they actually started their own. Now they actually realized the importance of freelancing. So that time I was a little bit like, okay, I'm not able to sit for jobs, and I had this pretty good base. See, when you're actually contributing in open source, this thing I forgot. When you go through conferences, you meet people, you make a lot of connections. You meet a lot of people from different fields actually. So this relationship, this connection which we talk about is very beneficial actually. Suppose you need to get a new project. So projects you can get through these only. And if you want to actually at some point in time that, okay, you're looking for a job also, you have these people whom you have talked to. They know you because you have been to the conference, and everyone knows everybody actually. See, in this programming world, it's very small actually. So if you have contributed a good amount and you have actually given a talk or something, and you're pretty much active member of the community, they know you. So suppose in dire times when you need something, or you want to actually apply for a job, or you need some contacts, or you need some references, these are people who will help you actually. So this is a very, very plus thing in open source. Second, going through open source, I was like, okay, if I'm able to learn what I had contributed for like 2-3 years in open source, and I was able to actually learn a lot of things which I couldn't have done in my college days, and I was able to earn through it. I think when I'm out of college, I can learn more, and I can actually earn also more. So it's like more skills you will develop and more earning you can get. So that was one of my thing, and the project I got, it actually boosted my confidence. Okay, I'm okay with not having a job. And the good thing about doing freelancing was like, and if you're having a project, you're able to sustain it, that you can actually work from your home. So a lot of expenses go down. So frankly, after my pass out in 2017, I never actually, so I came to Hyderabad, but I never actually went to office. I always worked from home.
So
that luxury.
COVID
हाँ.
wali thing was not new for you because from
Yeah.
starting only you were working from home.
So I was a master of my time. So what we used to do is like in freelancing that okay. Uh, so there was so I have heard that there are a bit of micromanagement. I
Hmm.
can point it out also later
Hmm.
what clients do micromanage you,
Hmm.
but a majority of clients they don't micromanage you.
Hmm.
So they have given you a set of tasks like you have to complete it in a week. All
Hmm.
they need is a daily updates and what you're working on.
Hmm.
So you can actually manage it. Like if you're okay comfortably working in the afternoon or evening, you can work that time also.
Hmm.
You want to work in the morning, you can work that. So you were a master of your own time.
Hmm.
And good thing is like if you're actually working on a foreign project, you are actually getting paid in dollars also. So that's a very good bump on your currency rate. So
Hmm.
the people who are actually, it's not a big thing to tell about, but considering that okay, you have kicked a job of 20-25 lakhs, and if you're actually earning like what you say here, $15 per hour,
Hmm.
so you're actually aiming close to that particular mark.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if you're actually working in Amazon, a big company,
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Name is something I think people talk about that they have worked in Google, they have worked in Amazon, they have worked in Fang or Mang companies. It's more like that this thing actually is there till the age of 25 or 26. Once you actually get past that software engineering role, no,
Hmm.
like see, you become a level 2 or level 3 engineer. No one actually have talked and have actually listened that okay, I am working in Google and people are saying, oh, you work at Google. It's not like that. It's only the fad among the college people only who are just passed out. They
Hmm.
just I see in the LinkedIn, okay, they are writing about it. So,
Yeah.
but at some point in time, everyone becomes equal. So if you're actually working hard, you're doing good with your technical skills, you're actually upgrading yourself, you're at the same par, you can be much better than everyone. So you don't need to compare with anyone.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
you're a freelancer, you are good actually.
Hmm. Hmm.
So after that project, I actually went to. So once you do one project, no, it
Hmm.
opens your entire actually पूरा एक रास्ता खुल जाता है.
Hmm.
So I started getting more projects. So I got Teammate Solution. There was one more project. I worked with them. So there were two of my clients, Worley Parson and Energy Resourcing Group. So we worked with them, and it was like a good 2 years, 3 years project. And then I worked with. There was one more Accelerist. So I worked with them one year actually. That was after like second wave of COVID, 2021. I actually started working them, and it went till 2022. And then I worked with one more corporate finance project. It was Precanto, and so a lot of projects we did, and there were a lot of small projects also. I'm talking about this long-term projects. So normally in Upwork, I was choosing long-term projects like which were actually going for more than a year. So
Hmm.
choosing a long-term project actually gives you stability. Also, you're able to plan your days actually. What like when you want to go for vacation or when you
Hmm.
want to actually like spend more time working, and it actually stabilizes you.
Hmm.
Taking a short-term project is like little bit heavy. I
Hmm.
tried some short-term projects when I told you about when I was mentoring
Hmm.
at Codementor, but it becomes very hectic actually.
मतलब कितने कितने प्रोजेक्ट्स एक बार साथ में करे थे लाइक यू वर सेइंग कि
I
यू वर इनटू
did
शॉर्ट प्रोजेक्ट्स एज वेल एज लॉन्ग प्रोजेक्ट्स तो
so yeah, so combination of like 2 to 3 projects, like one was long, two was short.
हम्म,
Yeah. At I think in my like 2017-18 arena, I was actually doing two projects, 2 or 3 projects actually, 18 hours of work. It slowly got reduced actually.
हम्म,
Slowly it went reduced. And
हम्म,
then I actually chose a one long-term project and one short-term project.
ओके
But very important thing is like when you're actually working on these projects,
हम्म,
you have to tell your client actually that you're working on these projects so that there's not a what you say intersection actually.
हम्म, ओके
The customer should know, the client should know that. So suppose I'm working for one project and the another project, but it depends on you and the how your relationship is with the client. So
ओके
yes.
ओके तो सागर अब बात करते हैं कि मतलब पेमेंट सिनेरियोस क्या होते हैं फ्रीलांसिंग के और जैसे मैंने सुना है कि फ्रीलांसिंग के अंदर यू हैव टू गिव लेस टैक्स एज कंपेयर टू व्हाट यू गिव इन दी प्रॉपर जॉब्स तो टैक्सिंग सिनेरियोस क्या होता है और पेमेंट सिनेरियोस क्या होते हैं फ्रीलांसिंग में
So payment scenarios basically मैं आपको बताता हूँ जैसे कि when you start as a fresher, so it can start as low as $5, $10.
ओके
Sometimes client is very good at you can get $15. I got paid $100 also once.
ओह
So
एंड
yeah,
$100 इज दिस आर्ली रेट राइट
Yeah, it's a hourly rate. Normally in Upwork, it's a hourly rate.
Okay.
So, but it more like it goes, because if it's a long term project, you get paid $25-$30 per hour. If it's a long term project, like it's a 40 hours commitment every week, so you get paid this much. And yeah, so what happens is like uh, you normally, when you actually apply or give a proposal to client, you actually give your hourly rate. So the client already has given the milestone, okay, that I have a budget of like $10 to $25 per hour. Now you have that filter actually. So if you want to actually go inside that, and they have a proficiency level also, that they want a beginner, they want intermediate, or they want an advanced person. Based on that, you can choose a bar actually. So I recommend that you should start at a bare minimum of $10. The very first year if you're starting freelancing, like it was like 5 years back, I'm saying you $10. So I will be more like that. Okay, you don't work for free, but you don't actually make like इतना बड़ा claim भी मत कर लो, $15-20 मांग रहे हो घंटे का. So you want to actually build a profile first. No, once you build your profile, then any money you can ask if you're good. Clients are willing to pay. They give you tips also. But then first of all, you have to prove, like it's more like just say कि scenario में that okay, I will not work if unless my salary is 1.5 lakhs, and you're just fresh off the board.
Yeah.
So you can get a little bit of experience. You can work for 15,000, 20,000. Like there's a job which is actually internship, which is paying you 15,000. You can still work for 3 months. You have to gather that experience, okay? And then actually you can build your profile, and then you can go ahead. So if you're working good, no, like a year, and then you can talk to your 6 months actually. You can talk to the client that have been working with you for 6 months. I want to increase in pay. And if your work is good, then everyone pays actually increases the pay. I have never seen a scenario where the client doesn't increase the pay. They do increase the pay every 6 months.
Okay. So Sagar, now let's start with कि कौन से टैक्सेस का क्या टैक्सेस का सिनेरियो रहता है. लाइक आई हैव हर्ड कि फ्रीलांसर्स को पूरे अमाउंट का टैक्स नहीं देना पड़ता. अराउंड 50% जो होता है वो ओनली टैक्सेबल होता है. So can you explain the different types of taxing scenarios in freelancing?
Okay, so basically क्या है कि एक तो आपको इसमें cases actually. So first of all, if your entire freelancing income is less than 50 lakhs, तो उसमें ये होता है कि you can actually tell to government कि 50 लाख से कम है, 49 lakhs 99,999 पैसे हैं. So you can tell to government that कि around 25 lakhs मैंने अपने पर्सनल एक्सपेंडिचर पे खर्च कर दिया, मतलब रेंट, कंप्यूटर apparatus, and you don't have to produce any bills for that. So now your taxable is only 25 lakhs, remaining 25 lakhs. So to pay taxes on 25. And in that 25, you can actually claim, if you're actually on the old regime, you can claim ATC, ATD, whatever the privileges you have. Otherwise, you have to pay on 25 lakhs. But if you're actually claiming more than 50% in 50 lakhs, like कि मेरा 40 lakhs खर्च हो गया और सिर्फ 10 लाख बचा है मेरा, then you have to get yourself audited. So that audit से अगर audit नहीं कराना है, and you have to actually, there's a section called 44ADA or 44AD. 44AD, I'm not a that specific tax person, the 44AD is a section. In that, if your gross earning is 50 lakh, gross earning means earning from everything is 50 lakhs, then you can actually tell from a profession actually, like you're working from Upwork से पैसा आ रहा है 15 लाख, freelancer से पैसा 25 लाख आ रहा है, Codementor से पैसा 10 लाख आ रहा है. So gross earnings अगर 50 लाख से कम है, then you can say that 50% is gone into setup fees, rental fees. You don't have to produce any bill also for that. लेकिन जो बचा हुआ 25 you have to pay. The game changes when you're actually more than 50 lakhs. Then you have to get yourself audited. So उसका भी एक गेम है एक्चुअली. उसमें क्या होता है, उसमें आपको कंपनी खोलनी होती है अपनी. So you can open your company. It can be one-person company, and you can ask clients that they pay to. Then you raise an invoice to the client. या Upwork पे बोलते कि वो अपनी कंपनी में मुझे पे करें. थोड़ा सा hassle होता है. Basically, the client will actually remove the contract from your personal, and it will award to your company. You have to change to a Upwork agency account. अगर 1-to-1 client है तो आप उसको company against invoice raise करो. Now, when you get the money in the company, around 80 lakhs, in that you can actually tell कि you have to show the receipts. So you can pay yourself a salary of 20 lakhs. You can pay your employees, or what you can say, you can relatives. There's a lot of things your CA will do. Not, it can't be open in public, but then actually you can say that you have, क्योंकि company तो audit होगी. चाहे वो 1 लाख भी कमाए। लेकिन जब कंपनी ऑडिट होती है ना, तो देन यू कैन एक्चुअली से कि मैं तो 60 लाख तो सैलरी पे खर्चा कर दिया, मैंने खाने के सारे बिल्स को आप रखे रहो, मैंने कहा मेरा इतना खर्चा हो गया। This all like expenses are there, no? Then you can actually. So this is the clue that if you're earning consistently above 50, then open a company actually, or you pay a tax, or you get yourself audited. So जहाँ ऑडिट की बात है वहाँ कंपनी खोलना बेटर होता है.
बट दिस थिंग इज नॉट पॉसिबल इन दी जॉब्स, बिकॉज जो भी आपको सैलरी मिलती है वो तो आपकी कट कटा के जाती है टीडीएस.
Yes, yes. So company में this is very famous. If you're earning 10 rupees in company, you actually can show your expenses as 6 rupees. Then you have to pay taxes on 4 rupees. But whatever savings are there, the tax is paid on that. But in terms of job, first the money goes out of as tax. And then whatever you that like 10 में से 30% तो कट ही गया तुम्हारा, 3 रुपए तो चला ही गया, 7 रुपए बचा, अब 7 रुपए खर्च करो. As well in like company like 6 rupees you have already spent out of 4 rupees, now 30 like 1.33. Matlab still you have like what you say 8.66 you have with you. So that is the difference. So like if you're a beginner, then actually you don't have to worry about, you can use 44 ADA. But if you're not a beginner and you have been like consistently into this freelancing and you're getting good projects above 50, I think contact your CA. And I think I did my own thing. I started a company actually.
Okay.
So I was able to manage my taxes through that, and I was able to save a good amount of money. Yeah.
या
So two
तो
scenarios.
पहली बार पता चला कि ऐसे भी टैक्स लोग बताते हैं फ्रीलांसिंग करके.
हाँ, यस, ऐसे होता है क्योंकि 50 से ऊपर जाते हैं आप ऑडिट पे आ जाओगे, इवन इफ यू इंडिविजुअल. So if audit karana hai, to the matter again open a company. Now a lot of things, lot of questions can ask. Okay, then I am actually working in one corporate. I can't open a company in my name. Then don't open a company in your name. No, open a company in your father's name. Open a 1% company.
Okay.
Or open like I think proprietorship. So I think it's not good. Open an MSME in a father's name, and then you work from that. Client the client they don't ask a lot of questions actually.
Okay. तो लाइक मतलब जैसे ये तो मेरे को काफी सही चीज लगी कि टैक्स काफी ज्यादा सेव कर सकते हैं. सो कुछ और एक्सपीरियंसेस बताओ, क्या क्या फ्रीलांसिंग के अंदर बहुत ज्यादा अच्छे एक्सपीरियंसेस थे, लाइक यू जस्ट शेयर्ड की बिकॉज यू वर इनटू GSoC, तो यू हैड टू यू गॉट द अपॉर्चुनिटी टू विजिट डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ डिफरेंट कंट्रीज. सो और क्या अच्छे एक्सपीरियंसेस थे फ्रीलांसिंग में?
So open source का सबसे अच्छा experience है कि if you're like in good in open source, you are actually continuously in getting involved in open source, you get a lot of things to travel. And I'm telling you, like a lot of places you can travel. And if you are like in our field, women contributors are less. They're increasing, but they're not actually increasing at a pace. The women contributors have got a lot more actually access to the field. There's Anita Bog, there's sisters. They organize a lot of trips actually as a contributor. So you can actually go. Then once you're in freelancing, so freelancing, that is one actually aspect of contributing to open source. You travel a lot. Coming to freelancing, actually, freelancing is more like that. In my case, I actually was like, I wanted to work at my own pace. I wanted to learn a lot. And there was like, okay, if you're actually open the door of freelancing, that you can actually earn a lot of money. And it's true actually. So if you're very consistent in your learning, if you're upgrading yourself in every project, and you're actually exceeding your expectation, not client expectation, but your expectation also, you can get good projects and you can actually increase earning very fast. So like if you're working in a company, you will get a raise of 10%, 15%. But in freelancing, the $10 which you're getting right now per hour, it can raise to $20 per hour. It can go to $40, $100 also. That is within months actually. So that's a scale actually. But thing is like you have to be very disciplined. You have to be very technical method. It's all about technicality. So you have to upgrade yourself. So when you're working in a team, like you will have a lot of what you say cohesion also, and a lot of like repulsion also. So with the team members, so it's a part and parcel. At the end of time, you are actually going there. You are actually working as a individual contributor and coming out. So, but whenever actually you're working in a company, actually, or you are running your own thing, you're no longer an individual contributor. Your decisions can impact you also and your team also. So that's the thing. Like in freelancer, you're an individual contributor. So with minimal impact actually.
सर मेरे को ये बताओ कि हाईएस्ट आर्ली रेट कितना देखा है फ्रीलांसिंग में?
I have heard about like $20,000 per hour.
$20,000 per hour?
I heard about it. Like $1,000. So I actually we paid one actually freelancer
Hmm. Okay.
$1,000 per hour, and it was like we actually needed. I can't tell about that. We needed one very critical support on our databases.
Hmm.
So we were migrating actually, and we needed one very critical support.
Okay.
That time it was like how much, like 2-3 hours of task.
Okay.
Yeah,
ये
that.
$20,000 या $1,000 में करते क्या हैं लोग ऐसा कि उनको पर आर के इतने ज्यादा पैसे मिलते?
So I think I will tell you a story on that if you allow me. I think
Yeah,
the
yeah.
users will also appreciate. So there was like there's a story like on the docks where the actually ships are actually repaired
Hmm.
for the trade. The ships used to come for trade. Ships used to come for cargo loading, and one time the ship was not starting. The engine was not starting.
Hmm.
The dock manager, they called the technician. So one technician came. He did something. They didn't start.
Hmm.
Then he asked because he was paying less actually, $10, $20.
Hmm.
And what happened was like the technician was coming. They were billable by hours.
Hmm.
So they spent like 10, 12 hours, but the ship was not starting. The bills were also coming like $100, $20. Then the dock manager told, okay, bring me the most experienced person
Hmm.
who has been into this. But the person said, okay, then this fee is more than like $1,000. Like I'm just giving a random figure, $1,000. She said, okay, already I have spent like $300, $400 right now, and I need this task very because I all my ships are loaded and the ship is not starting. I will lose a lot of money.
Hmm.
That person came actually, and he looked into the ship for 3 to 4 hours.
Hmm.
And 3 to 4 hours, no, I'm not 3 to 4 hours, I think 3 to 4 like instances actually, and he spent around 1 hour actually on that ship. And then he, with a hammer, he just clocked on one engine,
Hmm.
docked on one screw, and he did something. Hardly took like 1 minute, and the engine started.
Hmm.
So in the entire thing, the dock manager was standing beside that person. So when the dock manager said, okay, when he said that the ship is not repaired, it can go, and that was the issue, and I solved it. He said, all you did was you just put a hammer and you just screwed some nails. What you did else? And you're asking $1,000. So then he actually told that $1,000 is for that like 20 years of experience, or like many years of hit and trials which I have done, by which now I have that virtue that key I can, if I'm presented with the problem, I can resolve it. Means I will think in the right direction. Anyone can solve the problem, but the thing is like one is actually spending time to understand the problem statement, doing hit and trials, and then reaching to a solution. That is like a fresh developers do. But the experienced people, they actually first understand the problem. They see what the so they're very fast in like and thinking. The subconscious mind work very fast, and they are able to arrive on the solutions much quickly. They're able to fix the pot leaks also in the code. So this is what the experience. So this experience actually brings a lot of money. Now, the good thing about in computer programming or freelancing is you don't need years of experience. You can actually harness the skill within a year or 2 year and can work around it. Like 5 or 6 years, you are very experienced. If you're actually continuously upgrading, I'm telling about upgrading, no, learning a lot, hustling yourself. So within 5 to 6 years, you're too much good at you are able to get that payment also. So yeah,
So yeah, $20,000 is hell lot of money.
but that might be the task which is required. Like a
Yeah.
see, these prices are actually calculated on the basis how much it's going to impact.
Hmm.
If that particular service is going to be down for 3 hours and
Hmm.
it is going to cost the company £1 million,
Hmm. Hmm.
then the company is willing to pay like, okay, I will pay you £200,000.
Hmm.
Please fix this problem within an hour.
Hmm.
Based on the magnitude of the cost, the company decides how much they want to pay.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So if a company is investing around you in you like $1,000, they are guaranteeing that they are earning from you 3,000, 4,000, $5,000 from you. That is the bare minimum what they are doing actually.
Hmm. Hmm.
They are just shelling out 20 rupees, they are earning 100 rupees from you. The
Yeah.
same thing the company actually says, okay, this particular problem statement is a $1 million problem. I'm willing to spend $200,000. It's okay for me. Kya?
Hmm.
That is where that big billing hours come into picture.
Yeah.
They need speed, precision, and experience in that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
तो लाइक अब बहुत अच्छी अच्छी बातें कर ली फ्रीलांसिंग के बारे में. नाउ लेट्स टॉक
Um,
अबाउट द रियल चैलेंजेस. व्हाई डिड यू एक्चुअली लेफ्ट फ्रीलांसिंग?
okay. So the challenges were not that much, as in like freelancing is not like ki you're on a straight road and you're just driving through it. Ki projects are and you're just solving it and you are getting earned. A lot of times the projects do get ended sometimes because of COVID. One of my projects got ended, so it was a very big project, and I was like jobless for 2 months actually. That was the time of my marriage only, and I was getting married in Feb, and my project got ended in December, January first week actually. The clients were too good actually, and they wrote a very glaring recommendation also, and they still to keep things go good, they will hire me back. But that time that was like a blow to me, right? There's a marriage expense coming up, and a lot of things. I bought a house also, so how will I manage all these things? So this is about a freelancing that okay, you will be getting thrashed also a lot. So it's not like a very smooth ride. It's going to be a roller coaster. Ups and downs will happen, and you have to calculate yourself. Suppose when you are actually getting your first income, you don't have to be like कि यही पैसा मुझे मिलता रहेगा, the money will increase at 20% every month. No, right now you are earning $400. Next month you can earn $100 or $0 also. So you need to be very conscious with your financing. Financing we can talk about it later. How do you manage your finances as a freelancer? But in freelancer, it's very like, but like 2 months you are not working, and third month you got a job, you got a freelancing project which is giving you $1,000 per month. Everything is back to normal. No one says okay, पिछला बुरा हुआ था. So it's a very roller coaster of things. So plus the thing is like if you're handling multiple projects, the issue with that is like you tend to micromanage yourself only. One is micromanagement by your team or by your company, which happens very rarely in freelancing. There are some companies, and preferably I don't like the contractors working. I don't like the contractors working in Indian region. So the Indian contractors, they are like the pain actually. They do a lot of micromanagement, and that's like you are like laborers to them. They will treat you like laborers, but it's very bad rhetoric. But yeah, it's the true fact. Never actually. I advise my peers also never work with an Indian client. So they don't know the value actually. And so coming back actually, so what I was talking about, yeah, the money thing. So it is very like abrupt. So or you have to do very conscious planning of your freelancing, and the things like you start to micromanage yourself. So you're actually putting a lot of, you go into a burnout phase. Now burnout phase is more like that you start doing procrastination. तो यूर लाइक कि ओके ठीक है, ये आज जरूरी है प्रोजेक्ट का काम, मैं इसको आज करता हूँ, बाकी मैं वीकेंड्स में करूंगा. तो फ्रीलांसिंग में दैट यू आर नॉट रिपोर्टिंग टू एनीवन, राइट? सो यू आर मोर लाइक कि तुम्हारे वीकेंड चले जाते हैं उसमें. समटाइम्स अ लॉट ऑफ फ्रीलांसर्स यू विल हियर अबाउट दैट दे आर वर्किंग ऑन सैटरडेज एंड संडेज आल्सो, बिकॉज उनका कुछ काम बच गया था. दे वर प्रोक्रेस्टिनेटिंग इन मंडे ट्यूसडे, इन द डे दे वर वर्किंग ऑन वीकेंड्स. तो उससे कहता है पूरा हो जाता है. So my advice to freelancers to avoid this kind of situation is choose one project at a time. Or choose one short-term project at a time. Don't choose two long projects. I did a mistake that I was choosing two long projects at a time, and that short-term project also became a long-term project after some time. So I got a lot into procrastination, burnout. I was working on weekends also. I was getting money for that. Even on working on weekends, I was getting paid. But it's not about money, no. So some point of time you want to go out, enjoy, but you can't do that. The reason why you chose freelancing, you should have been now thinking that I should have better been in a job only. That 5 days and then the Saturday Sunday was holiday. This burnout thing was much actually prevalent. And I started my own company, so I got a couple of projects also. I was not the thing was like when you get a good amount of projects, you need to have a team. So I did some hiring mistakes actually. And so those projects came back to me and I had to complete that. So this burnout was a first major thing, that I was not able to complete a lot of things. So I started prioritizing my work over family, over family actually, mainly over family actually. Some time it kicked me, okay, now I have to actually prioritize my family first, my health first actually, and then work. So I gave a preference to, okay, I will stop doing freelancing for some time. I will go into a full-time job. And I got a very good, so I would have never gone into a full-time job. I got a very good proposal actually from one of my college seniors. They started a company. And I was like, okay, I did an interview. I was good. I understood the concept, what they are building upon. I was like, okay, let's build it. And that time was a good time. Okay, it's more like a saying, na, जब आपको कुछ चाहिए तो आपको मिल जाता है. So that was I just wanted a rescue of it. So my advice is like, don't go into that much a load of work into freelancing that you started feeling burnt out. So if you're working on weekends on the work which you wanted to do on weekday, then that is the symptom which you are having. You are going to destroy your family and you're going to destroy your health, family relations and health.
Yeah.
So any freelancers listening to this podcast, if they think that okay, they are working on weekends because of some of the micromanagement which they did on the weekday, this is a symptom actually. That this I had actually, and I went it for like 3-4 years, and then I was like, okay, it's time to stop for some time. Now, actually working in a company, I slowly came to understand, okay, the burnt out has reduced, so I can actually go back again. So two things actually. When you choose a project, you need to have a timeline. Okay, how much time it is going to complete. Do not procrastinate, first of all. So how to avoid procrastination is more like that. If you want to do 10 tasks in a day, you please write down those 10 tasks in the order of priority. The reason is like we don't write those tasks actually. And now the issue happens is ki you have like 10 tasks in your mind, then again someone gives you another task. Then you start working on that task, those 10 tasks out of some other tasks are gone. So when you have those things in mind, then you can tell the person, okay, I'm already working on these tasks. You want these to be deprioritized so that I can work on yours. This clear way of communication was also pending. This is all the like burnt out is like a separate episode. What have I? It happens like there's no communication between you and the team. You're not actually prioritizing your task. Okay. So a lot of problems freelancers face, and that was the reason why I left freelancing and came to a full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were also telling about last time when I talked to you, you were also telling about that when you were buying your house, you were also facing few challenges in getting the loans for the house. So
Yes.
can you explain that perspective as well?
So suppose if you are actually working in a small company, you are getting 6 lakhs per annum, and you still are eligible in the banks. Okay, that you're in a stable job. Like if you're working for TCS, I'm not naming companies like they pay less. It's more like that if you're working in TCS and you're getting like 9 lakh rupees in a year. They know that TCS is a very big company and it's a job security. So banks will give you loan. But right that time when I was applying for a loan, I was earning 40 lakhs per year, post tax 40 lakhs, and I was actually wanting to have a loan of around like 30 lakhs, just 30 lakhs, and then the bank actually denied me that okay, you don't have a stable job. Even my ITRs they were showing daily every year, like first it was like 25, then 30, it was increased. This year it was like 40 around. So sorry, that time 2020 it is 40 around. So the banks were like, okay, sir, we don't understand what freelancer is. You're not working for a big company, or a company which is known to our profile, so we can't give you loan. So they didn't give me loan actually. And another bank I went, they gave me a very high interest loan. That time the prevailing that repo rate was less. Everyone was getting around 6.5, 6.6, 6.9. I got a rate of 9%. One bank gave me a rate of 8%.
Yeah.
Like they were treating me as I'm a risk to them. I was like, I'm having 20 lakh rupees FDs. And they were, so that's like it happens in society also. Like if you're a freelancer, no, the society doesn't treat you like properly. Okay, लेकिन क्या है, बेरोजगार लग रहा है, कुछ काम करता होगा.
Yeah.
So I think this COVID thing has changed a lot of perception actually. But the problem with banks still remain actually.
Yeah.
It's not about like freelancer, it's about small company also. Like if you're working on a small company which is not known, again the banks raise a lot of question. But the self-employed section, banks hate.
Yeah.
They don't like self-employed unless you're running a company.
Yeah. So actually the banks are having certain bands in which they place each and every company. And if you're working in a band A company, no matter how much you are earning, you are certainly
Yeah.
loan very easily. But if you are working in a band C or band D company, no matter how much you are earning, like even 50 or 60 lakh, you will face a problem in
Face a
getting
problem.
in getting the
Higher
loan.
interest higher इंटरेस्ट का लोन देंगे, कुछ ना कुछ करते रहेंगे ये लोग.
Yeah. Yeah.
प्रॉब्लम्स डॉक्यूमेंटेशन मांगेंगे बहुत सारे
Yeah.
प्रूफ करने को. आप उनके सामने पैसा लाके भी रख दो तब भी वो डॉक्यूमेंटेशन मांगेंगे.
And you were
So
also talking about like when I last talked to you, you were also talking about there were certain payment defaults by the clients as well, specifically the Indian clients. So can you shed some light on that as well?
okay, so the reason why I told that I don't work with Indian clients is like this only, because they don't honor the payment schedule. And if they do honor, so when you are going to leave them, or when there is some set of disagreements, the disagreements can happen anytime. It can be from your side, can be from the client side. It's okay. You're not we are not married to them. Being an individual contributor, you are okay to leave. Okay. But it should be very graceful leave. Like, you don't have to leave very abruptly. Should be very graceful leave that you give the KTs to your team. The incoming team members should know what you have been working on. Should be always on a good note. I always tell my peers that never leave any place in a anger mode. Just leave pace. If you're not finding the good, ऐसा होता है कि भाई किसी कंपनी में मन नहीं लग रहा काम करने का, तो आप गुस्से से निकलते, लड़के नहीं निकलते, आप हमेशा सबसे मना के निकलते, क्योंकि at some point you might need them, no, in the future. But in freelancing, there are some clients you might not need to talk to them also. So we had one client, I think a Delhi-based client, and that time it was more like the client was micromanaging. So if you're getting micromanaged, no, you will feel a pinch, like if you're like raising a bill for 1 hour only, and 1 hour you're actually doing, like, I wrote the logic for this, and this is pushed. Then they will say, okay, these 5 lines you are asking for, this like $20, 1 hour billing, I could have written in 5 minutes. This is the type of excuse which they give. Then they will like, okay, I needed you this time, but you were not there. But you were there in the evening and you raised a billing for that.
Yeah.
Even the client knows that you are going to be available in the evening. So there's a problem with the clients. Then very recent thing which happened with me was like before joining a full time. So one of our last clients, what they did was, so what issue was happened, like I was about to close my contract, and I was joining a full-time job. Now the thing is like, I had like 1 month of work with them, and I was like, I had to leave them abruptly. So I was working as a tech lead there. So it was more like 50% development, 50% team management, working on like PRDs and everything. So my development task was done, and there was something remaining, but I actually delegated my team actually how to do it. So the last billing, like the last 1 month, they made hell of me. So I had a very bad viral, and they asked me to come in every meeting, morning meeting, evening meeting, and they wanted to talk to me. And they used to, not bully, but they used to talk certain language. It's not very required. Like, if I talk to you like very abruptly, like if I'm in a stand-up where like 20 people are there, and then you're like, okay, Nishank, why have not you done this? You don't know? It's very much like a very blunt language they were talking. And I knew that something is wrong, because they know that I'm going to join another company. And they were like, okay, होता है ना, मतलब कि अगर काम छोड़ते तो सामने वाले को अच्छा नहीं लग रहा हो, तुमको लगता है कैसे काम छोड़ के जा रहा है. Then they start micromanage. Then they started asking, okay, so there's one advice to all the freelancers. If a particular company started asking like, give me every 1 hour detail of your work. So then there's that the company होता है ना, पिप मोड में डाल देते हैं. तो सिर्फ freelancing language में भी होता है कि if a particular contractor or a particular employee is asking you, give me every hour of detail, leave that particular place right away, no matter how much they are paying you. They're going to throw you out next month. The same thing, this is a learning which I got. So started, okay, Sagar, give me 1 hour of detail of every work which you are doing. So they were expecting that I will give 8 hours. Now it was like 12 hours, 13 hours of work I was showing them. So what they did was they reduced all my work. Now then that time it was like only 2-3 hours of work. Slowly I was like, okay, I'm going to leave your company. So what they did, they stuck my billing. And it was like 2-3 lakh rupees of, I think not 2-3 lakhs, I think it was something around 1 lakh only, not 2-3 lakhs, sorry for that. 1.2 lakh something was pending with them. I don't know the exact, but it was more than 1 lakh. And I raised the invoice. I was continuously tailing them for 1 hour, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. They were not. So what the clients they do is like, they said that I am the boss. I can publicly humiliate you on LinkedIn. This LinkedIn tool has become a much like और सामने से सोचेगा डर जाएंगे, मत करो मैं ठीक है रहने तो मैं बिलिंग नहीं लूंगा. That is where you have to always stuck on the ground. So whatever the communication you do, again advice to freelancers, whatever the communication you do, you either do your emails. I think prefer do on emails only. Don't do on private channels also, because private channels get deleted. Always do on emails. so that you have all those proofs. If
Hmm.
you're raising a billing, you should have those invoices,
Hmm.
everything you should do. You should have a proper record.
Hmm.
And I had a proper record,
Hmm.
and so they were pissed off that I was leaving them. That was the reason they were started actually behaving rude to me.
Hmm.
And finally, it got settled because then there's approach that if a client doesn't pays you, then you can go to MSME court.
Hmm.
They can and if they don't pay you within 45 days, they will be charged with the interest if your case is right.
Hmm.
So, but you have to have all the proofs.
Okay.
So always sign your contract. So if you're not working from Upwork, always sign your contracts.
Hmm.
Okay. If a client is not paying you for a month, then just see you're working and you're not asking for your money. That's a very bad thing.
Hmm.
आपने एक महीने काम किया है,
Hmm.
उसके पैसे तो आपको लेने ही लेने हैं.
Hmm.
Nothing goes for free. So had been like pretty rough and tough with the Indian clients, but I never faced any payment issues with the foreign clients. And the Upwork is the best platform actually for freelancers.
Hmm.
Never faced any payment issues there. So yeah.
Okay. So now, how are you feeling like working in a proper company and after leaving freelancing? What are the positives of working in a company like this?
ओके आई थिंक फ्रीलांसिंग को छोड़ने के बाद मैं अभी ऐसा लगता है कि मैं फ्रीलांसिंग ही कर रहा हूँ बट इट्स मोर लाइक दैट आई एम एक्चुअली married to a company now.
Okay.
So I am the tech lead, so I run my own team.
Hmm.
The entire we are like 7 tech members. I run my own team actually here.
Hmm.
I take responsibility of everything from management to development.
Hmm.
Very good amongst launched two projects also.
Hmm.
The company name is Beyond Era.
Hmm.
It's a wealth management firm. We
Hmm.
have launched the Invest GPT also, and we have the Invest Edge and Invest Lane.
Hmm.
So 3 projects are already live.
Hmm.
We have got some users also on it,
Hmm.
and it's good actually. मतलब आप कहो तो मैंने actually बहुत सारी चीजें सीखी.
Hmm.
The very good thing which has improved is like I'm able to spend time with my father now,
Hmm.
a lot of time, and I'm able to spend with my family. I work for like 8 hours, 9 hours in a day, and then I have the entire day with me. I can run on my skills, upgrade my skills. I spend time with my family. I work on my health.
Hmm.
So I eat good. I sleep a lot.
Hmm.
So sleeping a lot, matters more because if you're having a sleep of 7, 8 hours of sleep, you're very healthy
Hmm.
actually.
Hmm.
So so it's more like that family and health has came into picture after joining this company and very grateful to them actually. And coming to like as a tech lead, what I have learned actually, so it's more like that I improve my communication skills. So like when you what you say, like you can actually express your ideas, you become a good listener. Okay, so you have a team, you actually you give a good constructive feedback. I learned about time management, networking. So one part of my job was mentorship also. So I interacted with a lot of industry experts uh, during my this thing. And there is something called when you work in a company, so you change from individual contributor to a team contributor. So now what you learn about is resilience. So ऐसा होता है कभी कोई चीज फट गई या यू आर एबल टू हैंडल दो सिनेरियोज, कोई चीज बुरी चल रही है, सो यू बिकम अ लॉट मोर रेजिलियंट ऑल्सो. ओके, टेक्निकल प्रोफिशिएंसी तो बढ़ी रही है बट व्हेन यू वन थिंग इज लाइक एथिक्स. सो आई हैव अ वेरी great team of founders actually. There are 4 founders and I learned a lot of ethical stuff from them actually. There's adaptation actually, and networking तो हमेशा रहती है. तो a lot of things actually. So when you're actually working, but it all depends like which company में आप हो. मतलब I have got that luxury from my founders that okay, that I'm able to mold the team in my way, and they have their support on me. So yes.
Great. So Sagar, now my question is for freshers. Like जैसा आपने भी देखा होगा in the current scenario, with the entry of the various generative models, for example, the ChatGPT, as well as the
Hmm.
recession onto its peak. So,
Hmm.
what advice would you give to the freshers and how they can actually look for the job options? Because I am in contact with various freshers and they are saying कि colleges में companies नहीं आ रही हैं. पहले जो 2 साल पहले सितंबर अक्टूबर तक 70-80% ऑफ जो बैच है वो प्लेस हो जाता था. Now
Hmm.
70% 70-80% बैच अभी भी ऐसा है जो प्लेस ही नहीं हुआ है. कंपनीज अगर आ भी रही है तो 6 मंथ इंटर्नशिप पहले मांग रही है एंड देन दे आर आस्किंग फॉर द पीपीओ. नाउ व्हाट एडवाइस वुड यू गिव टू द फ्रेशर्स, बिकॉज हमने भी एज एन जो हम काम करते हैं डेली जॉब्स में, वी हैव ऑल्सो लर्न अबाउट द इम्पैक्ट्स ऑफ द चैट जीपीटी. बिकॉज जो हम लॉजिक को 15-20 मिनट सोच के लिख पाते थे, वी जस्ट हैव टू राइट द करेक्ट प्रॉम्प्ट ऑन टू द चैट जीपीटी एंड it is able to generate it into 2 or 3 seconds. So
Yeah.
yeah, so can you give some advice to the freshers?
So for freshers, actually, there's a lot of things actually. So हम बार बार इसमें कहें कि स्किल एनहांसमेंट तो करना ही करना है उनको. There's very important thing is like you have to stay informed. You have to continuously monitor the job markets, okay, and the market trend. So for market trend is actually, see, I think 2 साल पहले क्रिप्टो का बहुत बूम था, right? A lot of people did a lot of crypto, and our programmer, being a programmer, you can actually do a lot of things. Like you have that base now, you can learn a lot of things, you can adapt yourself. So for the freshers to adapt is much better, much easier than us, because we are actually losing our, we हमें change करना पड़ता है. उनके लिए change करना जरूरी है ना. They are like a wet cement. They absorb everything right now once they are out of college. So to be very informed with the market presence, I will talk about what they should do actually in this challenging market times, and then we can talk about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Then one more thing which I think was like they are very weak in online presence. So some of the people are doing good online presence, but they are more like you have to sell yourself actually when you are writing your LinkedIn profile. No, you have to sell yourself. Because आप कॉलेज में मतलब कुछ आपके पास जॉब तो है नहीं अभी, तो आप प्रोजेक्ट्स करते हो, राइट? एक्सपीरियंसेस होते हैं, तो उनके बारे में आपको बताना है टीम को कि हम ये सब करते हैं. देन अनदर थिंग इज लाइक कि internships and freelancing is there. When you are applying for a role, you don't have to actually give a same resume everywhere. You have to customize your resume also. You should, the resume customization should happen. So if you're applying for a crypto company, your resume should reflect that you are actually knowing about a crypto. So you know about JavaScript, you know about Python. But the same thing if you're applying for a marketing, a lot of freshers do not, they apply for marketing or they apply for crypto also, the program. Then your resume should show about sales experience, right? What are the voluntary things you have done? So resume customization is very important. There is something which I say a lot is like personal projects. Okay, personal projects, the things like the college people, they are not doing any personal projects. Having a personal project doing during your college, like even if you build a 1 personal project or 2 personal projects, very impactful actually. So for the new people, if now the ages of generative AI, so you build something of generative AI, you build something on OpenAI and you showcase. So suppose अभी जैसे OpenAI का है, तो आपने कुछ सिंपल सा प्रोजेक्ट बनाया, न्यूज प्रेडिक्टर का ऐप बना दिया, न्यूज प्रेडिक्टर बना दिया, समथिंग लाइक दैट. एंड एक्चुअली व्हेन यू आर अप्लाइंग टू अ कंपनी, यू कैन शो दैट ओके, everyone know that you are a college student. They are not going to actually ask like big questions to you कि मुझे बताओ ये सब डीप लर्निंग क्या है ना, न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स क्या है, सब चीजें तुमसे नहीं पूछेंगे. वो आपका प्रोजेक्ट देखेंगे, उनको लग जाएगा हाँ ये बंदा कर सकता है, तो उसको लेंगे वो. The industry need doers actually. So this is what the thing, right? You have to prove yourself that you are a doer if you're going for a job, anything. So right now these tools, I am not going to say anything negative, but it's more like कि कभी कभी तो ना, कभी कभी हमने सुना है कि कभी कभी ज्यादा सही बता देता है तो कुछ ज्यादा गलत कर देता है. I think of these tools as enablers only for me. It enables us to do a lot of things. तो जैसे कि मान लो कि जैसे मैंने था ना आपको एक्सपीरियंस वाला थिंग कि नाउ कुछ चीजों को आपको गूगल पे सर्च करना पड़ता था, आपको OpenAI से की हेल्प मिल जाती है, तो यू कैन एक्चुअली गो ऑन द नेक्स्ट स्टेप. A lot of things OpenAI cannot do actually, but things like see any like what you say, any AI can go only till the extent what human mind has thought of. It cannot go beyond that. So जब तक ह्यूमन माइंड उसके बारे में सोचेगा नहीं, वो AI में जाएगा ही नहीं. So ह्यूमन माइंड में वो आना चाहिए. अब ह्यूमन माइंड वो सोच के प्रोसेस करने में 10 दिन लगा दे, AI will do in a second. That's a different logic. अगर आपको चैट ऐप बनाना तो AI आपका 5 मिनट में पूरा कोड लिख के दे देगा, लेकिन उसका वो स्केटन देगा, कैसे बनाना है वो पूरा कंप्लीटली वो आपको अपना ह्यूमन माइंड लगाना पड़ेगा. So you use this as an enabler.
So like the point just which you just said, right, कि मतलब फ्रेशर्स को लिंक्डइन के ऊपर अपने आप को सेल करना आना चाहिए। सो जो भी फ्रेशर मेरे से
हम्म,
पूछ रहा है ये वाली एडवाइस कि जॉब मार्केट में जॉब्स नहीं है या कंपनीज प्लेसमेंट लेने आ रही, हम अनप्लेस्ड रह गए हैं। सो आई थिंक उसमें फ्रेशर्स की गलती कुछ नहीं है। ठीक है, कंपनीज अगर आ ही नहीं रही हैं तो उसमें
हाँ
फ्रेशर्स जो
फ्रेश
है वो अपने हिसाब से चीजें कर सकते हैं। बट दे शुड हैव समथिंग टू शो टू द कंपनीज, लाइक
करेक्ट।
अगर सेल करना है अपने आप को तो अपना रिज्यूमे बना लो वेबसाइट की फॉर्म के अंदर। ठीक है, या फिर क्या
ये
कर
भी है।
सकते हैं कि जो भी आपके नेटवर्क के अंदर है लिंक्डइन में उनसे पूछो कि क्या उनके पास कंपनीज हैं, मतलब उनके पास
या
ओपनिंग है या नहीं है। या फिर क्या कर
हम्म,
सकते हैं, जैसे हम मेरे को याद है मेरे टाइम में क्या था कि डीएसए कर लो अच्छे से, ठीक है, और थोड़े बहुत
हम्म,
प्रोजेक्ट कर लो तो आपकी प्लेसमेंट हो जाती थी, बिकॉज
यस,
कंपनीज इतनी सारी आती थी। बट अगर कंपनीज नहीं आ रही हैं अभी तो आई थिंक द इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग जो अब हो जाती है वो जाती है कि डीएसए के साथ साथ जब आपको एक बेसिक डीएसए आ जाए, एज एन की कंपनीज क्रैक करने वाला डीएसए आ जाए, देन यू शुड बी एबल टू डेवलप लॉट नंबर ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट्स, जिससे कि कंपनी को यू कैन शो केस समथिंग, और कंपनी को ऐसा ना
यस,
लगे कि जब भी आप उधर इंटरव्यू देने जा रहे हो कि इसको हमें बहुत ज्यादा सिखाना पड़ेगा ग्राउंड से, बिकॉज जो बेसिक बेसिक चीजें हम पहले करते थे वो चैट जीपीटी आजकल हमें करके दे रहा है। ठीक है,
यस,
तो अपने जो होमवर्क है वो काफी अच्छी तरह करके रखो, काफी सारे प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाओ, उनको अच्छी तरह डीप अंडरस्टैंडिंग लो, एंड देन फिर जब अपॉर्चुनिटीज आएंगी कंपनीज की, नेटवर्किंग करो, लोगों से पूछो कि उनके पास कंपनीज में है जॉब्स या नहीं है। ठीक है, एंड जब अगर जैसी फिर तुम्हें वो मिलेगा एक कोई भी अपॉर्चुनिटी, देन योर फोकस शुड बी टू क्रैक इट, बट उससे पहले जितना भी होमवर्क है उसको कंप्लीट कर लेना चाहिए। So yeah, so this was all from my end, Sagar. So
या।
anything else, your closing words, your closing guidance, which you.
No, nothing. I think we are looking. I think let's see how this thing goes. And things which we have talked about, I think we are going to talk more in details actually. क्या भी क्वेश्चंस आएंगे कि अच्छा एक्चुअली फ्रीलांसिंग में अप्लाई कैसे करते हैं, हाउ वी राइट प्रपोजल्स।
Yeah,
ओके,
yeah,
मेरी पहली जॉब गई एंड आई एम फेसिंग सम इश्यूज ऑन दैट, हाउ यू एक्चुअली मिटिगेट थ्रू द issues during a day-to-day job. A lot of things. So let's see. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So thank you, Sagar, for this podcast, and we hope कि हम जल्दी मिलें और जो अब
Yes.
प्रोफाइल वगैरह बिल्डिंग है उसके ऊपर बात करते हैं फिर नेक्स्ट टाइम।
चलो, okay. Thank you.
बाय।
Bye.